by extension, modern African itself. The artist, as an inveterate self-narrator, brings up the fifth column of Dr. Onobrakpeya's structure. Those of us in this field know that an important contributory element to an artist's profile is the narrative that heralds such an artist. The narrative is as important or at times, even more important than the artist's work. All art is local. There is correlation between an artist's success and the artist's patronage base. Oftentimes, we neglect locality at our own expense. But the global art community also plays a significant part in shaping local taste and patronage. Dr. Onobrakpeya's creative longevity cannot be dissociated from its locale. The irrefutable fact is that the values that we place on art, the determinant of aesthetics, and the willingness to invest in a particular artist is governed as much by the quality of the artist's work as by the values ascribed to it or associated with the artist. In Dr. Onobrakpeya's situation, longevity and consistency are critical factors. At this point, there is theoretically a body of patrons who will buy whatever he produces. This is because he has earned his stripes to a point where the appendment of his name on any item instantly transforms such an item into art. If he were to dawdle something on a napkin at a restaurant, it is theoretically possible to monetize it. A sixth pedestal in the Onobrakpeya's chronicles concerns insightfulness. The results of the man's visionary deftness are apparent everywhere today. Perhaps it is the establishment of the Bruce Onobrakpeya's Foundation that we see his determination to entrench and perpetuate his vision. In this vein, the creation of the Harmattan Workshop in 1998, together with the erection of an edifice, the Conference Center, to actualize the ideals of the workshop, remain an unassailable testament to his immortality. By now, only a hair-brained dolt will contest the evidence that Dr. Onobrakpeya remains his own best chronicler, promoter, and publicist. All you need to do is look at the body of literature that he had produced about himself. If any exhibition mattered, there was a catalog, and he never had any exhibition that did not matter. The urge is to document himself appears to be a healthy, obsessive compulsion, which brings to mind this short anecdote that reveals my private nemesis on this score. Onobrakpeya's exhibition catalog for 1992, The Spirit in Ascent, was edited by by my colleague, Gigi Dara. While the catalog must have been confined to the archives now because of the 445-page 2014 magnum opus, Mask of the Flaming Arrow, which I had the privilege to edit, a very visceral development concerning my contribution to the 1992 catalog remains indelible because of a careless error contained in my essay's heading. In those days, when every department had a pool of typists, I turned in my piece to one of the ladies in the office. Once I made what I thought were all the corrections to the typed piece, I turned it to Gigi Dara. Behold, to my eternal mortification, the title of my essay came out in print as The Humane of Onobrakpeya. Confounded, I rushed to check the original copy that I sent to the editor. Behold, our elite typist had edited my original title, which was The Humaneness of Onobrakpeya. This blemish on my academic integrity felt so visceral that I shared my anguish with a colleague. Then shared with me a similar fox de pas that he had seen at his place of work. When a publication came out with a title kind red spirits instead of kindred spirits. Still on Onobrakpeya's personality, I continually marvel at the generosity and wonderment of his prescience Lord in designing a human being who is rugged, clairvoyant, blessed, and unperturbed as Dr. Onobrakpeya. At my age, I have finally embraced the idea that I may never, let me change that, that I will never be the same person that I was when, for example, we organized his 60th birthday. 3 decades ago, I have been forced to reconcile myself with the idea that my wife has peddled for so long, an idea which I treated at first as a rumor, but which, as recent events have revealed, is probable now a fact. The idea is that I have slowed down, physically, at least. It started in the waning years of my tenure at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. I observed that during a casual walk from one campus building to the other, my students suddenly appeared as if they were ever in a hurry, even when they seemed quite relaxed as they sped past me. However, I have managed to resolve the conundrum. I discovered that it was I who had slowed down. It didn't matter how fast I thought I was moving. I was always left behind by my students. When, as I alluded to earlier, Dr. Onobrakpeya was at my 70th birthday at Unilag, I was stunned at how trim and how fit he not only looked, but also felt. On that occasion, I came to the realization that something was probably wrong with him. It was not right for a respectable 83-year-old man to be that sharp and walk at that fast speed. I knew that he used to extend to me the privilege of sharing his bottle of beer in the comfort of his living space anytime I visited. I know certainly that he does not smoke, not even cigarettes. Now, don't go misinterpreting me again. I'm not inferring that he smoked anything else. Nobody is implying something sinister. Dr. Onobrakpeya does not smoke, period. So, where does he derive his incredible festiness from? If he drinks only moderately and smokes absolutely nothing, where does he derive his own vim and vigor from? That's a question I cannot answer. I just had an epiphany now. I learned that my heart throbs with glee whenever discussions center around the professional indefatigability of Dr. Onobrakpeya, who all of us should see as our hero. As regards the other elements that are constitutive of his greatness, I'm secure in my conviction that his love for the arts, his full unalloyed commitment to professing art, and the unparalleled success that has attended his efforts in this regard are incontestable facts. But when it becomes to comparing my physicality with his, I tend not to do too well. Of course, I am not sick, other than a back problem here and a carpal tunnel there, or whatever else my legs may cook up tomorrow. I'm healthy, which is why I struggle to define Dr. Onobrakpeya's physical impressibility. Of course, I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm old enough to have a healthy presumption about how non-generals are. Where is this guy? I lost the final page. Okay, very good. I'm healthy, which is why I struggle to define Dr. Onobrakpeya's physical irrepressibility. Of course, I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm old enough to have a healthy presumption about how non-generals are supposed to look. Obey's age paradigm notwithstanding, I suspect that you can imagine where, in conclusion, I'm headed with this. So then, I end with just a question, one simple question. Will it be will it be too impolite to ask INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, for a recount on this score? Can we ask INEC to help us take another look at Dr. Onobrakpeya's certificate? I mean his birth certificate. May God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Please, it deserves another round of applause. And you can see that the accolade goes to the keynoter, Professor Dele Jagede, and the presenter, Professor Kunle Felani. And let's also give a rousing welcome to our own celebrant today, Professor Onobrakpeya is here with us. I think we should give him a rising ovation. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Let's put hands together for him once more. Quickly, we're going to take another keynote address. But before then, let me introduce to us to our own Professor Iboji, the former DVC, University of Port Harcourt. Let's put hands together for him. May I introduce Professor Gigi Dara. He's coming out to take the keynote address of Professor Perkins Foss, formerly of Penn State University in USA. Let's put hands together for him as he comes out to deliver the keynote address on behalf of Professor Perkins Foss.
Thank you. Mrs. Chairperson of this occasion, I am asked by Professor Perkins Wilson Foss to present his story of pictures. Perkins Foss is 80 years now, and traveling is not easy. So, but the unique place that he occupies in Urobo historiography, Chairperson, is such that if he were here, if he were speaking, he would ask the president of the university, Dr. Mr. Sida Ibru, to put an artwork in all the walls in this building. That's the first request he will make. Because the whole problem that we confront in this part of the world is that we are almost indifferent or hostile to documentation. We don't want to document the things we have done. And that's the area that Perkins Foss has closed the gap for us. Now, I can just give a small background to it. Documentation is the key to civilization. If you don't document what you have done, other generations cannot be inspired. I'm not competent to speak for him because I'm in the verbal arts. I'm in the area of poetry, music, dance. But the physical arts, the visual arts, we speak with pictures. That is, they tell stories with pictures. Is the area of documentation. And their work is more imperishable than the work of verbal artists. A musician dies, sometimes the songs vanish. But the oldest art in the world are the art of the pyramid in Egypt. The pyramid in Egypt, which were constructed by engineers that were all black, architects that were black, masons that were black, plumbers that were black. 5,000 years ago, the pyramids are still surviving in Egypt. Today, there are 180 pyramids in Egypt and Sudan. That is what you call documentation. Imperishable elements or symbols of culture. I'm making a contrast between verbal artists, writers, singers, and musicians, and icons like Bruce Onobrakpeya, who will use pictures to tell a story, and the picture will survive centuries and centuries. So Perkins Force, who was a professor of Penn State University, had retired now, but I can consider him as the first human being in the world that salvaged Urhobo artworks from extinction. He did a degree in history, art history, and he came to Nigeria as what you used to call a Peace Corps. The Americans had a Peace Corps scheme, which was their version of what you now call NYC Nigeria. He then was posted to the National Museum in Lagos, in the Lagos Island, near where race course is now. When he got there in 1967, the war was about to break out. The man who was in charge of the archives was called Murray Bruce. Murray then said, "Oh, you have come for this work. Yoruba area has been covered. Igbo area properly documented. North culture in the north is also covered. But I went to Midwest area recently, and I saw fascinating things in the Yoruba area. You may go there and find out whether they are useful." That is how Perkins Force came to Yoruba land, and it was guided by no other person than Akabalide, Chief T.A. Salubi. Salubi was then the President General of UPU. He took him around, and Perkins Force has bundles and bundles of information on Urhobo that if you want to look at them, you have to go to America to find them. In 2004, he published a book on Urhobo art, which he called, the title is Where Gods and Mortals Meet. Where the spiritual world and the physical world, their marketplace. And the book was launched in New York, in the United States, and it took all of us there. We were led by Professor Bruce Onobrakpeya. I was there too. Late Professor Peter Eke was there, and we went from street to street talking about Urhobo art. People were clapping because the artistic vitality of Urhobo art is unbeatable on the West African coast. Some of the pictures are here. They are not bright and tall enough for you to see from a distance, but this one is, oh, you know, return it now. This one is sculpture, wood sculpture. It's one of the oldest things in the world, wood sculpture. Sometimes you have stone sculpture. The Egyptians have stone sculptures. A mountain, they will carve a human body there, and it will last for thousands of years. Rain or sun. The Urhobo people are good at wood sculpture because we are a forest-dwelling civilization. This is called Ibri in Urhobo. This is a symbol of personal aggression and Oyimita. The thing that makes you not to be afraid. This is the spirit symbol. It is worshipped, venerated once a year with palm oil and so on. And if the place is being attacked, invaders like Gambari Fulani are coming to your village or your community, this is what you raise. When this one is raised, like Ovu had one that was very dangerous. I'm not telling. Once it is raised, everybody in the community is immunized against the gunshot and the cutlass shot. Those are part of the sciences that the people had to defend our land. Ibri is what it's called. The Soko also have it, and the Ijo also have it. It's a common energy around us here. It's a military energy. And sometimes it's called Odibri. People are called Odibri. Means they are militants who cannot be suppressed by society's laws. Sometimes they call it Oveke. When there's obstacle that nobody can cross, Oveke is the one who breaks through the obstacle. People like Agbaru that call Oveke. They are the one who can. Or the woman has not given birth for a long time. First child that comes out, survives, is called a Vijay. So this is Ibri. My masters are here. People like Agonwa, they know more than myself. I'm a dancer. So, yeah, next one, if there's any other one. Next one, yeah, these are Ikelike. Perkins Foss calls this one area spirits, that human European people also worship cosmic forces. Not just a Joto. That is, we don't just worship spirits of the land or spirits of the forest. We also worship spirits of the sky. And this, as you saw today at the field there, they were looking up and conversing with the cosmic forces in heaven. This is an example of it. This is what Urobo used in dazzling the universe. In 1956, when Queen Elizabeth paid a visit to Nigeria, she was brought to Benin, the only airport then. There was no Asobi airport. So all the secondary schools and model schools were mobilized to go to Benin to welcome this young lady. She was very young then. Rory now. So among the artistic displays that people of we were not even Midwest at that time. We were part of Western region. Ikelike was one of them. And Queen Elizabeth, she will never forget. Because those Ikelike dancers were able to stand at the edge of drums, big drums. They would stand at the edge, not in the middle, and some on top. That is, they have enough energy taken along that we beat the law of gravity. I'm a winner. Urobo. So different samples. This one is from Euleni, the one on the right. Next one, if there's any. This is the example that you saw today. This is the bridal pageant. Is the highest celebration of womanhood in Nigeria. No other culture is so civilized as to celebrate their maidens. This is how they are paraded before they go to their husband's house. And no husband dare behave to beat your wife. When the fine comes, you go to the bank to borrow money. They talk about feminism these days. That is compared to Urobo. We are the one who celebrate our womanhood better than anybody else. They are here now, robbing that camp wood. And in the ancient times, when internet had not come, they completely opened the breast at that time. These days now, internet would not allow you. This is a Orugworo festival of brides. In Orugworo, it is called Riabogyawo, that is march past of the brides. Last month, me and my research team were trying to identify them and go to Orugworo and find out whether they are still alive. This photograph was taken in 1972. That you will see there now. But it's inside Perkins Foss book, Where Gods and Mortals Meet. It's one of the iconic photographs in that book. You saw it today. 4 of them came today, showing that the people of Ugyame land and Dudu land have not forgotten that tradition. It is still carried out, not like this, but at least symbolically. Any other image? Yeah, this is one of the images in that book too. First, got this from a man in Ebredi who was a sculptor. His father was a sculptor. His father's father was a sculptor. So this was 4th generation of sculptors that Perkins Foss caught. Perkins Foss has spent 55 years recording Urobo art. 55 years. His Odova, his sobriquet, is Oyibejo. And that title was given to him by Ebony Kingdom. Oyibejo means a spirit that is a European. Omosho. Person yellow, then you go make him a spirit, you go Mosho. Any other one? Similarly, the same art. This is a human head representing, but beauty is the thing here. This one is like what we call the Festac symbol of that Benin mask that the British stole and refused to return to Nigeria. Next one. Yeah, these are water goddesses. And these two images are similar. This is a masquerade, and the masquerade culture is very associated with water spirits because the Ijaw are the most perfect in that art. And I think we are neighbors to them and we share that art. Agbarha-Otor, why the one in the street dancers, Kilike, Ijaw, but on Agbarha-Otor, this one, they tie their toes and dance on the floor, but they represent spirits from the waterways. And this is an example of a typical Urhobo river, calm and serene. And when the rivers are calm and serene, this is where mermaids have their conference. Conference. One of the natural features of Urhobo land, which we have not paid enough attention to, is that in the whole of West Africa, Urhobo land has the cleanest rivers. Our rivers are sparkling. They are crystal clear. There's no salt water in Urhobo land. I'm sure for the next million of years, you can make pure water, whatever pure water, and sell and make money. But we have not gone there now because oil has blinded everybody's face. In Urhobo, that's what they call them. You know the first one is Onobrakpeya River at Ulogbo. That's Urhobo land. The next one is Jemisi River near Ogara. Followed by Ethiopia River. Ethiopia is number 1 in Africa. If you throw a coin in Ethiopia River, at the bottom you see it. Those are the 3 first ones you see. When you come down here, further down to Urhobo land, Warri River is the next one in terms of size. From Ukwale, where it starts, up to Agbarha, to Bomoro, to Apaka, to Omia, Hebrews town, up to Alaya, the water is clean. It's when you go to the mangrove area, there's salt water. If you don't know the value, come forward. As you're going to Sokolad, as you are going to Patani, you cross many rivers. From Irene, you will be crossing the up to Ohoro. The bridges will tell you are crossing rivers. They are all clean water. And the weight of clean water is inestimable. Only 2.5% of the water in the world is drinkable. And God has put many of these rivers with drinkable water in Urhobo land at Abakogene. Next one. This white chalk, and there's a symbol of thing that you see around temples that are around the waterfront, beaches, because mermaids come here to negotiate with people. Sometimes people will tie things ankle on a jamio. I was listening to a record as I was coming here, a woman from Olomu who was born, and after some time she was missing. They looked for it, they couldn't find her. The mermaid took her to nurse her under the water. After some negotiation, they released her to the parents. And the woman became a worshipper of mermaids all her life. When I talk of mermaid, you think it's mystery. Professor Onobrakpeya has dealt with the mermaid feature in our imagination. Mamu water. I think the original concept came from Europeans who came to our coast, like Portuguese, who brought goods and so on. Anytime you talk of mermaid, you're talking of goods. They always supply you. You don't even give them. Apart from Fanta and from Cocolond, usually they give you boons. They satisfy you. The image probably came from the Portuguese, which we call Potokri in Urhobo. But some of them, they are very stubborn. They can interrupt construction and engineering because you are dealing in their territory without consulting them. So, mermaid can give you problem. Onobrakpeya captured one of them in his artwork. When they were building the Jebba Bridge, now I think in Kwara State, Mambuata interrupted the work because they didn't consult them. They were putting pillars in their own palaces. Kaimobu, They got angry and see, anytime they put pillar there, next day pillar was gone. They put another was gone. Science was defeated. They needed African part of it. The Europeans consulted and came back, and one European engineer, according to Professor Onobrakpeya, entered the place with a bottle and entered the river and put the bandage inside the bottle and brought it out. After that, pillars never collapsed again. Have we have okay? Honor. What am I saying? From the work of Peking Force, we are able to recognize that we are not alone. Because what makes us very, very difficult to govern, we assume that we are alone and we are superior to God. Even the insects are superior to you. If you recognize this diversity of natural forces and you harness them, then you develop. But when you are blind to them, every tree you see, you cut the tree. Every river you see, you cover with sand. You are now disobeying natural order of things. And the two will become your cause. So rivers are very useful to us. And these stones, some of them they are stones, some are carvings, some are periwinkle, all part of communication with the next slide. Next slide. This is the cover. This is the man, fourth generation of sculptors that we saw earlier. Next slide. This is Oboru is a major drama, festival drama in Erevi. It's the water festival. And once that festival takes place, 7 days. If you look at the people who do the work, apart from Osejo, the chief priest, assistants, the whole preparation, things you have to memorize, and then all the people participate. You cannot go and have sex. Go with the time. You are demoted from participation. I agree. No, they are happy that I'm talking about them. What am I saying? Those who take part in those rituals and festivals must be clean-hearted. If you commit a sin before you go, I think that those institutions help our people to live holy life more than churches are doing now. Die. You holy one more. You couldn't lie in those days and go and be chief priest of Ogoru. So that is the importance of these institutions. This is their festival where the drama spectacle is unleashed for 7 days. And it involves architecture, construction of that. It involves using palm fronds. You have to go and climb palm tree to bring the things. It involves weavers. It involves designers. Then color. People will use color to separate. Then charms, chanters. People, by just word of mouth, you can change the reality. Then there are people under that. Human beings are there moving it. I can't speak too much about this because Agbarha-Otor boasts of having the tallest masquerade in the whole world. It's called Ekene. The festival is held once in 25 years. And when last time it was done here, electric cables did not allow the thing to move. They have crossed the road, electric cables. It is 3 stories high. We are the only one in the world who have it. There's the Jele Festival in Enugu by the Igbos. It's not compatible to Ekene. In Ekene, the 20 people will enter under it and be moving it like as if the earth is moving. And a woman wearing red and white, holding a bird on the hand, is out on top, communicating with Jupiter and Mars. Yes. I saw it live here. It was indescribable. We have found a duplicate of it in the African diaspora, and we are planning to take a trip there Bruce's children, Echiro and Mudiare, have asked them to raise money from their colleagues in St. Gregory's College, Lagos. We want to take a festival of Ekene to a place called Suriname. Suriname is near Mexico. Inside the forest there, Iworobo, who were taken there as slaves, carried Ekene to that place. And we have found the example there. In that trip, those of you who want to go collect money now, raise money now, that trip we also go to Jamaica. 2 million people there, they dance calypso and reggae. And calypso and reggae, Dr. and Mrs. Sida Ibru, are diaspora extensions of Uge dance. Calypso and reggae, they are the diaspora extension of Uge. The steps, the attitude, the songs, chastising people publicly. Uge is the father of reggae and calypso. But if we step into the Caribbean, we have to reach Cuba also with the Urhobo art. Because plenty of our art are found in Cuba too. And they are very careful about preserving their civilization. If you are anxious and ambitious, keep saving money now, because next year, after the elections, we are going to the Caribbean with Urhobo. Next slide, next slide. Yes, this is the cover. Yes, that's the cover, working on the wood. Ordinary wood, you convert to a fine art. Next slide. Omnigbo. These are participants in a festival drama. And you can see their dresses. This is the masquerade in the front. Then people just holding, this is not APC